Javier Vasquez is a 4th-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu and former professional mixed martial artist with victories in the UFC, WEC, EliteXC, and King of the Cage. Since retiring from MMA, Javier has devoted his life to developing and teaching his unique style of jiu-jitsu, which he calls Strike-Based JiuJitsu. His approach places heavy emphasis on always protecting yourself from strikes, so I was excited to spend some time with Javier to learn what his system is all about. So Javier, tell me about this concept you've been developing for a long time, which is a strike-based jiu-jitsu. Where'd that idea come from? And tell me about how you developed it.
So strike-based jiu-jitsu was basically the way I fought, right? So because I was a professional fighter, I tried to fight in a way where I would take as little damage as possible. I knew that the prolonged, issues that can develop over time, over taking tons of trauma to the head. So I thought to myself, let me take as little damage as possible, so that way I can kind of preserve my health in the long term. So then I started to realize that every position, generally when you're on the bottom, right? Also when you're on top, but more so when you're on the bottom in a more vulnerable spot, every position has a particular way that if you fight in that way, you take less damage. And the number one thing that causes the most amount of damage are people's hands. So I started to understand how to fight people's hands and positioning myself in ways where strikes weren't available, and kind of the collaboration from every position is what's now known as strike-based jiu-jitsu.
So let's look at some examples. Maybe walk me through a couple positions and how you look at the position in a way that's different than, say, how it's normally taught in a grappling-only context where there's no strikes.
Well, every position has its own system. So let's start off from side mount and just look at the basics from side mount first.
Side mount bottom?
Side mount bottom, yeah. So I think that side mount bottom is one of the most vulnerable places. So a lot of people feel very vulnerable from side mount bottom. They feel like they're very dominated from side mount bottom. So you have to understand kind of what the base is and how to build ourselves from side mount bottom. Now, first of all, you have two arms and two legs. So if the person is hugging your neck and is hugging underneath your arm, I call this configuration 4. This is, for me, like I'm the most stuck in this position, and the guy on top has both tethers. He has the arm around my neck and the arm under my arm in order to be able to hold me. So if I'm in this spot and he wants to hit me, I'm also in a good place to stop him from hitting me, because if he's trying to hit me with this hand here, hit me with this hand here, I'm able to hold his arm in place. If he tries to hit me with this hand here, I'm able to hold this arm in place. Now, because I'm holding, he's going to start to pull the arm away. The second he starts to pull, I'm able to start to fill the space and control the arm. So as you pull the arm away, I maintain contact. Now hit me. So I'm still cool here. So now he's going to want to pull this arm away. As he pulls this arm away, now I control this arm. So now I'm in a spot where I can hit him, he can't hit me. Now he starts to back away. I call this repellent behavior, and now we start to fill the gap. And now we're here, back to guard. This is a better spot for me than this. So by me behaving in a particular way, it makes you feel like getting off of me. I fill the space, and I now put myself in a better defensive posture than I was from the start. So I'm always in a good, solid, basic position here where I'm not taking damage. If the guy wants to headbutt me, my hand is in the way, so if he's trying to headbutt me, I'm safe from headbutts here. I also understand from side mount that if the opponent is around my neck, I am more stuck than if he's not around my neck. I have more mobility, more comfort, more ability to move and squirm away if he's not around my neck. So by controlling the hands, by controlling the posture, and if he does posture aggressively, I'm able to push him away and fill the space. And now again, my hands are on the inside. Anytime my hands are inside of yours, you can't hit me. So depending on the angle, depending on the position, I have a specific way that I'm fighting, in order to make it as difficult as possible for the guy on top to hit me, because that's why I designed it. I designed it that way so I wouldn't get hit.
And in doing that, you actually encourage them, as you said, to move in a particular way that's predictable to you so that you have that next move ready to go when they fall into your trap.
I'm generating behavior. I know that by stapling the arm, the opponent feels controlled and it makes them want to pull it away.
Yeah.
The second that they pull it away, you can time that by feeling where they're at, and then you can start working your exit route, whichever exit route that is. So anytime that we're in the guard, we're looking at two different positions. We're looking at, is the guy with his chest down or is the guy with his chest up? I think that those two situations are very different. And if the guy postures up, are your feet remaining crossed or are you uncrossing? Those are the two main situations. So if we're in the guard, of course, look, I'm always guiding your hands away from you. I'm always feeling myself in a way where your hands are always controlled. I like to control until I can start to isolate. Here I can't get hit. Here I'm not going to get hit. Anytime I'm fighting from an angle, I'm not going to get hit. Right here. And then I can obviously, so then also I started to realize that it's very difficult to attack submissions from the bottom. It's labor intensive to use your legs, to climb your hips, to squeeze your knees, to cross your feet. This is a very labor intensive situation. I believe that it's easier to utilize the guard to transition from the bottom to the top. Now, a lot of people say, well, that sounds like you're trying to sweep. And I go, okay, well, sweeping is one way to go from bottom to top. I use a variety of tools. I use sweeps, I use kimuras, I use guillotines, I use drags, and I use sweeps. So I don't focus on the sweeping to go from top to bottom. I say, I want to go from top to bottom any way I can. And then how many different routes do I have to go from top to bottom? There's what I call a tension shift when you go from bottom to top. The energy of control, the controlling element can be determined by one shift in configuration. But some shifts are so massive that the energy changes in the control. Let me give you an example. So right now, you feel good. You feel solid. You feel like there's nothing in your mind right now that I'm doing to you that's creating any sort of danger.
Right.
My arm is on this side of your head. Now,
Which gives me an illusion that maybe I can attack it.
my arms are isolated. They're independently isolated. They cannot work as a team when my arm is on this side. Now, if I shift my arm to this side, now how do you feel?
Yeah, uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. It makes you want to release this arm. It makes you want to switch your hips. It makes you want to push my elbow out of the way. It starts to generate behavior just by going from here to that.
And I notice you're using more of the tip of your elbow or close to it.
The magical spot. I call that the magical spot. The reason it is because the magical spot is able to sustain weight. Many people, they frame their head, but they come in this direction, and then the guy crushes it, and I don't have any way to resist the crushing force, the downward force. But when I frame on structure, go ahead and drop your weight on me.
Yeah.
I'm able to sustain this. Now, I'll make you feel like getting away by doing this. Now this makes your elbow want to come up off the ground and pull.
Oh, man.
The other one. Yeah, go.
I mean, both. I'm trying to get away, man. That's
Boom, now we can start to fill in space. So you're making the space for me rather than me trying to make the space for myself. Right? So I'm basing your decisions I'm controlling your decisions based on what you're feeling. Here you feel good. How about now?
No,
you
good.
feel the inability to move. Same thing happens here. If I'm able to underhook this arm here, go no hook.
yeah.
You can already feel that it's not good.
Yeah.
You can already feel like, man, I got to fit. Usually what happens, guys have to switch their hips.
Switch the case.
Yes. It starts at your decisions. I'm guiding your decision making by behaving in particular ways. So by making one shift, see, this is a configuration shift, right? I'm going from a red configuration to a green configuration, but there's also a tension shift because this changes who's in control.
Very much so.
Right? So now whoever's dictating the movement has changed. Another tension shift is going from bottom to top. That's an obvious one. But some tension shifts are very subtle. Things like this, things like the underarm. There's a big difference. Stuff this. Stuff it. Keep your elbow tight to the body. Yes. No, you gotta be lower. No, yes.
Gotcha.
Here, I have no power. You're in control. Now watch this. How about now?
Right.
Now you feel the difference and feel I'm hooking your shoulder. So if you try to pull this out, it's not coming out. It's gonna take a substantial amount of energy for you to be able to pull out. As you make that energy happen, go, 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 go. I feel the space. And I'm always controlling and covering your hand. So there's no way you can hit me.
And what I'm realizing, even if there are no strikes, this still makes sense, right?
That's why it's a universal concept. I started to realize if I fought the same way, whether there's strikes or not, it doesn't adding strikes doesn't change anything. So it doesn't change my demeanor. It doesn't change my anxiety because I'm building default behavior, which is easing that by design. So it's universal. It's a universal martial art rather than it's just a sport style. No, this style works for fighting. Anytime you're fighting somebody,
It can work in fighting, it can work in sport, it can work in anything.
It can work in anything.
So this is brilliant. And maybe we should mention that we're going to collaborate on a project to try to bring these concepts to the greater public. And I'm very excited about, stay tuned for that. We'll have more information on that. Because I've known about this guy for 20 years. I've been watching you and thinking, this guy knows what's up, man.
Yeah.
So where can people find you and find out more about you?
Well, my Instagram at JV Jiu-Jitsu. I have that's for the academy and for my reels. And then if you want to follow me just on my personal and watch my bike riding and pictures of the sky, then do at Javier Showtime.
At Javier Showtime. Javier, it's an honor, man. It's always good to see you. And thank you so much for being on the channel today.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.